to the finish line. Seatbelt, fast whips, got a winning mind. See me when I skirt off.
Hello guys, and welcome back to the Girl You're Fine podcast. Now before we get into this next episode, we do have to give a quick shout out. Girl You're Fine is not affiliated with the Northwest Student Media, but shout out to them for providing the space and equipment to record this episode. Northwest Student Media creates the Northwest Missourian newspaper, KNWT Student Television, KZLX, 106.7 Student Radio, and the Tower Yearbook. Find out more at northweststudentmedia.com. Let's get into it. Hello guys, and welcome back to the Girl You're Fine podcast. I hope you're having a wonderful week. Y'all, I am so excited for this episode. Welcome, Carter Stansel.
Thank you.
Carter, how are you feeling about being on a podcast for girls?
It's different. It's different. But I was raised with women, so
okay.
A bunch of sisters.
Perfect. So tell me about your jersey, because I had a few questions whenever you came in.
So this is Asia Wilson. She plays for the Las Vegas Aces. It's a WNBA team. And
awesome.
She's the MVP and the best player in the league.
Dang.
And, yeah.
That's so dope.
Wore the jersey and I liked it.
Love that. You're repping it for the Girl You're Fine podcast today.
Absolutely.
And okay, you also told me you've been on a podcast before.
I have.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So most of you guys know him. His name is Foster Huggins. He does Underwater Fly Zone. It's just kind of like a mental health, suicide awareness and stuff. And I did that like in March-ish, something like
nice.
that. And yeah, we did an episode there, and it was just really fun.
That's so dope.
We almost talked for like an hour and a half.
Are you kidding me?
Just going through
oh my
everything.
gosh, that's amazing. I'm going to have to listen into his podcast because I've seen all his merch. I think
yes.
it's so cool.
It's awesome.
Love what him and his wife are doing. Like,
oh, man.
They're actually a power couple. I hope they're listening in.
Man.
You guys are actually the coolest couple in Maryville.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I'm trying to think back, like, Carter, how did you and I meet? Because you're just one of those people that I've just always known at Northwest.
I was pondering that question before I even came in.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because I don't even remember.
Me neither.
I think it may have been a fraternity party we had.
Oh.
And I think maybe you can. I think it was my sophomore year, your freshman year.
Was it a Valentine's Day party?
I think it was the Valentine's Day. Yeah, we had a Valentine's Day party, and I'm pretty sure, and I don't even remember how or why.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. We just met, and then we've been really good friends ever since.
Yeah, literally, you came with me to a cheer formal.
Cheer formal, yep.
Yup, and now you're literally on the podcast with
and now we're here.
This is so great. There you go. Okay, the memories of the frat party are starting to come back slowly. Right. So you're a frat president.
I was.
You were a frat president.
Yes.
You're now alum from the frat.
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Start with the frat president?
Yes, just becoming the frat president.
Yeah, so I became my fraternity president my junior year here at Northwest. And it was awesome, honestly. It really is, but some people don't really know what actually goes into it because you have to take care of pretty much everything, and you're also like the face of your chapter. So when people think, like I was in AKL, when people think of AKL, they think of you.
Yep.
Right? And your your reputation has to be highest.
Yep.
Character.
Yep.
Highest. So that was definitely something. And then transitioning into alumni, me still being here because I'm working on my master's, it allows me to still be in contact with them, be close with them and stuff. And it's also just like a wisdom thing as well because I've been there and I've been in their shoes.
Yeah.
So.
That's amazing. What kind of made you want to join the frat whenever you came to college here in the first place, like way back in freshman year?
Yeah. So I rushed in 2020, fall of 2020, which was like prime COVID. First, I didn't even know what rushing meant. I had no idea what that meant, but my stepbrother at the time, he was in AKL. Oh. And I just recently decided that I was going to go to Northwest because I originally was going to go to Nebraska-Lincoln.
No way.
But it would have costed like $10,000 more to go
per
there.
Year?
Like more per year than Northwest. Yeah, so I decided to come to Northwest, and then he asked if I was rushing. And I was like, I don't know what that means. I thought that was just like coming to school earlier.
Rushing to class?
Yeah, like does that mean moving into my dorm 2 weeks earlier or something? I was like, no, fraternity. I was like, what is that? And then he was explaining what a fraternity is and what sororities are and stuff like that. So then I rushed, and it was much different because it was COVID, so some things were virtual, like Zoom meetings, and some things were in person, but it was very regulated.
Yeah.
So I eventually joined AKL because because my stepbrother was in there. And I also came to Northwest not really knowing anybody.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and not a ton of Omaha people come here. I was like one of, I think, like 4 people from my school who came here.
4 people?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, 4. And I did, like, we were friends, but we weren't, like, tight.
Yeah.
So it's not like I saw them every day.
Right.
It's not like I texted them every day. So that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to join, just to connect and create new relationships. That's kind of the main reason why I wanted to join. So.
And whenever you're talking about being the face of your frat, and I feel like that could not be more true, because you'd be at every event, you'd be on campus all day long, super involved not only in the frat but in other organizations, and just really being like a good example for all of the guys.
Right.
So kind of talking about being a good example, I know that frat guys sometimes have stereotypes.
They do.
They're not always bad. Sometimes they're just kind of funny.
Right.
Like, you know on TikTok how you see guys doing the frat flick?
Oh my gosh, I hate the frat flick. It's so annoying. That stereotype needs to go away. But I mean, kids continue to, they just do it. They just do it. I'm like, stop. Please stop. It's awful.
So what are the main stereotypes that you've seen while your time, or as your time being a president here?
Here, it's kind of hard to explain, because some people paint frat guys to be like not good people, but that's not really the case. But some frat guys, it's kind of like just any guys. Some people, they make bad decisions,
right?
But that doesn't mean they're necessarily bad people. It's hard. It's not exactly what you see in the movies, and obviously you have exceptions here and there. But like with our chapter specifically, it was like AKL is very diverse, and that just doesn't mean like race, religion, stuff like that. That also means personality-wise. Like there is a bunch of different backgrounds, histories, and all that, and race included as well. So it's hard to stereotype that,
right?
because none of us are the same.
Yeah.
At all, really. Like when I was president, we had our exec board, and I was one of the oldest people on there, and all the people were younger than me, and I did not have the same background as like any of them, and they didn't, vice versa. So when it comes to stereotypes, obviously you'll have your exceptions, but as a whole, no, I don't think it really matches. So.
And I could not agree more with that. Kind of tell me, how is it hard to differentiate? I know you told me how they're good people, but sometimes there's exceptions to that. How do you differentiate an instance versus the entire frat as a whole?
So when it comes to joining a chapter, it's like you represent your entire chapter. So even when one person does something stupid, it reflects poorly. Because like when people see something like, for me, for example, if I were to go out and just like start a fight for no reason, they would say AKL starting a fight, not Carter starting a fight. So it's hard to differentiate when it's one person, like in the chapter. Because it goes together. However, there are going to be, times where our chapters like hold these members accountable, and we have removed members multiple times.
Really?
Sir, definitely instances, and there was that instance 2 years ago. Where that was a whole thing, and we had to really come back, really had to come back from that, and that's a different because obviously AKL had nothing to do with what was going on, and handled that, and I had just become president.
I remember.
I had just become president during that time, and we removed him instantly, and we couldn't say that at the time, but we did, and we've had to build back ever since and just show that like that is a different scenario where none of us had anything to do with what happened, and he didn't align with our morals and what we stand for, and we bogeyed him, and that's how it is. So
what has building back looked like over these past couple years?
It's just it's kind of like an image like rebranding, because it really united us, honestly, because during the time we were like not divided, but there was just a lot of pettiness going on.
Really?
There was a lot of pettiness going on, and after that, there was talks of our whole new member class dropping. And we got 16 at the time.
Like a rumor?
No, they had we had sat down and they had talked to us about it, because we were getting called names, being painted as these horrible people, and it was tough as a president because my guys were afraid to even step outside with letters on. Yeah, and they were all 16 of them were threatening to drop. So after that, it really united us in that building back. So there was a lot of philanthropy. It was a lot of explaining, honestly, and just showing with actions and not words that this ain't what we stand for, and this is what we're going to do moving forward. And it was a slow process because there's always going to be people who create new rumors and stuff like that. But that's always been something that's been going on.
Right.
But yeah, it's a slow but sure process, and it's gotten extremely better.
You guys have done an amazing job.
Extremely better.
Yeah, I see you guys on campus, doing the little events outside of the union.
Yep.
And just the little, people interacting with people. That's so amazing.
Exactly.
So tell me, how hard was it to be, there's one person that did something terrible and then the whole frat is now looked upon differently? Was that really hard?
Oh yeah, most certainly. There was times I didn't sleep because I knew I was not what they are saying about us. And do you know the app Yik Yak?
Yeah.
Worst app on the earth. And that's
really
what
is.
really fueled everything, because they were just constantly just baggering, slandering, all that stuff. So there was talks about rioting in the house. There was talks about all that, and it was hard for me to really handle that because everybody who knows me knows that that's not something I stand for, nor have I ever been involved with. But there are people who don't. The people who don't know me, and they will believe anything they read. And they just like to instigate and just light the fire. And that was a huge problem. So how we handled that is, I don't know if you remember, but there was a protest the day after at the bell tower.
I remember.
And we all showed up at that, and everybody was like, what's going on? Because they didn't expect us to show up. And then I went on there and gave a speech and said what I could without being able to get sued. Because a lot of people didn't understand that. A lot of people didn't realize that if I just said what I wanted to say, I can get sued for defamation. So I was like, here's the line, and that's where I was. But I do, with that speech, because I gave two. I gave one in person at the bell tower, and then I made that video.
I remember.
If you remember that. They were kind of similar. But I did a lot of implying. And a lot of, if you listen closely and critically think, I did a lot of implying on what we did and how we're handling it. So, that's just kind of how we moved forward from that.
Are those videos still up? I'm just curious.
Oh, no.
Okay,
we weren't allowed. No, we weren't allowed to keep that up.
Good.
So, due to our nationals. So,
well, I am very proud of you guys just as a whole for bouncing back, and you guys have really just created such a positive image.
Right.
And I really think our campus is so much better with you guys a part of it. So let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is gym culture. I work at a fitness center. I see you at this fitness center a lot, and I know there's a lot of stigma with frat guys in the gym, and also just with gymtimidation as a whole. I have friends and people that come to my spin classes that come to those classes because they might be uncomfortable. If, there's 50 guys in the racks and then there's one girl trying to, start her lifting journey. Kind of talk to me about your perspective on that.
I just think we need to be better as a whole, because I understand it, from a woman's point of view. There are some creeps. There are some creeps in gyms. And there are some people who say, no guy just goes to the gym to just stare and all that. Yes, there are. There are. Believe me, there are people who have nothing better to do with their time.
And I've also seen, on Yik Yak, it's if you were wearing this at the gym, hit me up. Like, what?
No.
If you think a girl is cute at the gym, first of all, leave her alone because she's working out. And if you really want to reach out to her, go up to her in person.
Yes.
It's crazy.
That was something I was going to say because, like, attraction is human nature.
Yep.
You're allowed to be attracted.
Exactly.
I say my dad, that's how my dad and my stepmom met. Mm-hmm. My dad is a personal trainer.
No way.
My stepmom walked into the gym. My dad, they locked eyes.
Wow.
And then he went up to her and asked if they wanted to train. Like, that's okay. That's human nature. And now they've been married for 11 years.
See, he did things the right way.
Correct. But either just staring, because nobody likes to be stared at.
No.
It's just weird.
No.
Or just constantly just shifting your workouts to try and be next to somebody because people do that. I've literally seen before where someone was bench pressing and then he was looking at this girl who was squatting or whatever, and then moved upstairs to do something else, and he just moved upstairs and started doing lunges.
Yeah.
And then he started doing basically everything that she was doing. So you went from bench press and all of a sudden you're doing a leg day.
Weird.
That's just weird. And girls catch on.
Yeah.
Girls aren't stupid.
Yeah. We have a sixth sense.
Yeah, they're not
stupid.
And men are not as smart as they think they are, sly as they think they are. So we just have to be better. And it's also a big comparison thing because there's a big problem with comparison and body insecurity.
Yep.
Because body insecurity is a reason why people go to the gym.
Yep.
And body insecurity is also a reason why people don't.
Yep.
Because and I've fell in that trap before too because I was not. I've gotten much bigger now, but before I really started taking the gym seriously, I was the same height, but 160 pounds.
Okay.
I was very, very thin.
Okay.
And it was intimidating to me to try and go to the gym and I'm lifting 15-pound dumbbells when some other dude is lifting 80s.
Yeah.
And I would compare myself and man. But that's the thing. We have to stop that.
Yeah.
Because that dude or that girl was not always that big. They're everybody got to start somewhere.
Yep. 100%. So you would say that guys feel a lot of the same gym intimidation that girls feel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's something that a lot of people might not know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's also a human nature kind of thing. We're always comparing with one another. But that's just you won't ever achieve your goals trying to be somebody else.
Exactly.
Right. Because you're trying to get over the obstacles that they went over and not the ones that you're facing.
Exactly.
So you'll never, be who you want to be trying to be somebody else.
100%.
And, that's men and women because some women get very intimidated by other girls who may be more fit or stuff like that. And then they get insecure about what they should look like or am I pretty? Does my body look good? Stuff like that. But all that stuff is so subjective.
Yeah.
It's subjective, and there is no definition.
100%. And you're your own worst critic.
Correct.
Literally, everyone is so zoned in, focused on themselves. They're not worried about how much you're squatting or benching.
No.
At all. And I think that's something that we just really all need to tap into is our own confidence. And it's a journey that everyone faces. It's a very normal part of going to the gym. And that's why Planet Fitness has gotten so big. I love their mission. And I've been there before. And I do feel like the atmosphere and the environment is different. So just kind of thinking about things that guys and girls can do to make the gym less intimidating. So one, I think going with friends helps so much.
Yes, it does.
I think joining classes can help, and also going at a less peak time. So, I call it frat bro hour between 2 and 5 p.m. just because, usually, when I walk into the gym at that time, there's, 40 guys, and I think it's awesome.
Right.
But it's also just, it's not a time that maybe a girl would feel as comfortable going, and that shouldn't deter the guys from going during that time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think about things
it's all about going where you're comfortable, because you should feel comfortable
Yes.
In the gym, and that's the main thing. I understand if women don't want to go from 2 to 5 because it is packed. I don't ever go from 2 to 5 ever because I'm not going to be able to get a rack. But when it comes to trying to be more comfortable, we just have to be more welcoming, but not being weird because there will be a lot of judgmental people. There will be people like there are videos that posting online all the time about making fun of somebody doing a certain lift.
I hate that, and they go
So,
viral.
yeah, and they go viral, and they
me
start
sad.
defaming their name. And it's awful because he or she had no idea that was posting anyway.
Yep.
And it's just awful. So we can't be like that. And some people go to the gym because it's very stress relieving.
Yep.
And you may not know, but that person may be having the worst day of their life. Like they go there because they have an hour of free time, and they just need to, burn off whatever's going on in their mind right now.
Yep.
So one thing we can do better is just like compliments, like words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Like you never know how you can make somebody's day. Like instead of just judging them or constantly staring at people, you could literally just walk up and say like, "You're killing it."
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't even have to know them. Like
100%. I think the gym needs more of that.
It does.
Because people, it's a great thing when they're so focused in, but it shouldn't be such an intense, scary environment at the same time.
It shouldn't. And with that, it's like, because first of all, you never know who you're going to meet.
Yep.
And you never know what they're going to become. And they will always remember how you treated them. Like, if they see you constantly staring at them, they will remember that.
Yep.
For the rest of their lives. But if you're not being a creep and you went up to her and said like, "Hey, you're killing it," she's going to remember that. Or he's going to remember that.
Yeah.
And that's something we can all do better.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I love that thought process because I feel like more people are so critical of themselves when they need to take the light off of themselves.
Absolutely.
Really put it on other people.
Absolutely.
Back to the topic of you being a frat president, what advice do you have for people that maybe want to get more involved on their campus, in their Greek life, and they're not really sure how to do it or where to start?
So first you have to have determination. And you also have to be open-minded. Because there's a verse in a song, it's called Saturday Mornings by Corday and Lil Wayne. And Corday said something that the best leaders have closed mouths and open ears. And that's something I took very seriously because earlier, like, I'm a big brother. Like, I didn't go to anybody for advice. Like, I was my best advice. So when I got into the presidency at first, I always just thought that, and not in a bad way, but like what I was thinking was what's best. But again, I got a younger exec.
Yeah.
And younger people tend to have different ideas.
Yeah.
And sometimes better ideas. So that's where wisdom with like age and innovation meet in the middle.
Ooh.
And that's something that you need to have because if you want to be a leader, you have to get rid of whatever negative things you have about you. Like if you're selfish, you will not be a good leader. If you're careless, you won't be a good leader. And if it's your way or no way, you won't be a good leader. And your organization, your fraternity, sorority, team, sports athletics team, they will fail. It will fail because you don't always have what's best. You don't always know what's best. And what works for you may not work for other people. Because as a leader, you have to think about the organization as a whole. It's not all about you.
Wow.
It's and that's not even just being president either. That could be a recruitment chair. That could be a scholarship chair. Because like especially with scholarships, like you are in charge of helping people with their grades and what they can do to be better. And some studying tips will work for some, but they won't work for others.
Exactly.
And just because they work for you doesn't mean it'll work for somebody else.
Yup.
So it's all about adaptability.
100%.
Can you adapt to people's needs? And that's why I liked with AKL and joining an organization in general, because you're working with a bunch of people who don't think the same as you or don't have the same contexts or backgrounds as you. And it teaches you how to work with other people because you go forward to the future. It's like in your career, you're going to have to work with different people. You have to. There is no working by yourself anymore because the whole work dynamic has changed. And you're going to have to learn how to work as a team.
100%.
And if you don't have that growing up, like in college, you're going to fail. And there's a big difference between people who know how to adapt and don't know how to adapt. Because if you know how to adapt, you don't freak out when things go wrong. Because guess what? Things will go wrong in your life. And you're going to have to deal with things that aren't your fault. But guess what? Life doesn't care.
Wow.
Life don't care at all. And you're going to have to deal with it anyway. Right? Your bill's still going to have to get paid. Your bills don't care what's going on in your life. right?
The world's still going around.
It's still, time's still going. Time don't stop just because something bad happened and it wasn't your fault. And sometimes it is your fault.
100%.
But what are you going to do about it?
Wow.
And then you have other people who don't know how to adapt and have never been. They've always been type A.
Yeah.
And they just have to go step by step. And when something doesn't go to plan, they don't know what to do.
They don't.
Because they didn't go exactly to plan. Now what? And now everything's failed.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. Some really, really good advice. Okay, so looking forward for you. You have a super bright future. You're in grad school right now. You have so much leadership, just so many good soft skills and, regular skills. Kind of tell me, what are your goals for the future?
So I'm doing my master's in data analytics. So right now, I'm actually working with the women's basketball team.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm helping them with different analytics right now. So right now, I'm working on defensive data. So for example, we have on-ball screens. For anybody who watches basketball, they know what an on-ball screen is. What is our, do they score off of it or do they not?
Oh,
and then with post steps, is the opponent scoring or not? And what percentage are they scoring at?
Yeah.
So it's basically about finding weaknesses just based off numbers. And then it helps us game plan.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so that's something I'm doing. And I'm doing it for free. I'm not even getting paid for this. I'm just doing it because I love it.
Yeah.
Because I want to get into sports analytics.
Okay.
And I can put that in my experience. I've done this for a very good, by the way. They're actually really good.
Yeah.
So definitely come out to games. But a D2 top school, and I'm doing that. So I want to eventually work for the NBA.
Wow.
I want to eventually work for the NBA once
incredible.
I'm done. So that'd be a dream come true. Honestly, any NBA team I would say yes to if they gave me an opportunity. But NFL is also one. Different sports analytics companies. That's a main goal.
Carter, that's
So,
exciting. I
yes,
have
I
no
know.
doubt in my
Yeah.
mind that you're going to get there.
I
You're
hope
literally
so.
repping the NBA jersey. We're manifesting it right now, y'all.
I hope so.
That is so amazing. Carter, I could not be more happy that you came on an episode of Girl You're Fine. This is going to be so good. I cannot wait for you and all of your friends to tune in. And you just have so much wisdom. I really appreciate you taking the time. And I can just tell, even from whenever I knew you a few years ago, you've just grown so much as a person.
Yep.
And it is so cool to see.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, I think
Loved it.
that's all we have for this episode.
Beautiful.
Carter, thank you again. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to Girl You're Fine. You can watch us on Spotify and YouTube. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Racing to the finish line. Seatbelt, fast whips, got a win in mind.